Hello, everyone. My name is Jill Mangaliman. I'm the Executive Director of Got Green. We are a grassroots environmental justice organization based out of South Seattle. We were founded under the vision that we can tackle climate change or global warming and poverty at the same time. For Got Green, it means that we have to look at these issues of the environment and the economy at the same time, because our communities are being impacted by both. We are led by people of color, and so it is very crucial for us to have the leadership from the grassroots define what our priorities are. And so that is in itself how we define reinventing an economy. For folks who don't know, the root word of economy is Greek, and it means the management of a home. It has actually nothing to do with money or profit or dividends markets. And yet we see the current economy of capitalism right now is very focused on putting a price tag on almost anything. And if we think about the systems that came before that, it was about abundance. The people who defended the land before white settlement here in the Seattle area, the Duwamish, spoke of abundance and sacred for the land. And so if we can imagine a time before there were markets, oh, sorry, I'm really excited, that it's not too far off from the cultures that have existed for centuries. And so if we think about environmentalism as well, that movement has erased people of color for many years, and the environmental justice movement is one that we at Got Green see ourselves part of a long legacy of people of color defending the land, from highway expansion, from fighting against lead paint and toxics in our homes, to seeing the removal of our people in our neighborhoods. And today that same colonialism is translating into gentrification. And so this is not a new battle. This is, if you think about the world we're living in, it's a continuous cycle. First, there were the native folks who were removed, and then there were black and brown people being removed, and now there's a focus on immigrants and refugees. And so I think there's a continual a history of people of color in this economy disproportionately being marginalized. And yet, that is also where the solutions lie. For us, for an economy that is to be reimagined, is to really look at how do we strengthen the communities who have been marginalized, and how that can happen is to create an economy that is for people on the planet, that creates jobs, housing, and public transit, and also healthy food access to these communities. But what we're seeing in our city and many cities is that it's not being driven by the grassroots or by those communities. In Seattle, the rising costs coming from building light rail, from this development, is actually pushing our communities further and further away. And so we can't even utilize these benefits of a green economy. And so if you can imagine a person having to travel from South King County, where a lot of our folks are being pushed out of, they have to travel 1 to 2 hours, are disconnected by public transit, have to spend the time burning carbon from their cars if they can afford a car, and also being away from their loved ones. And what we're seeing with the impacts of climate change also, it's impacting our communities first and worse. First in our homelands, where the storms are strongest, where people's homes are being destroyed and people are being pushed out, but also here locally in the US, where our communities are without resources to weather the storm, so to speak. And yet it is our communities who are the first responders and the first ones who are knocking on our doors to create the services that our governments do not provide for us, create the systems that take care of each other. And so that's the kind of economy we want to see, a very strong, local, rooted in place economy that a lot of our communities who have been marginalized have been creating for years. An example of this is the neighborhood plan of Rainier Beach Action Coalition. They are planning, they have this beautiful plan to create a food innovation district in the Rainier Beach area that would not only tackle the issue of hunger and food insecurity in their neighborhood, livelihoods, but also provide living wage green jobs and a closed loop system that provides training and also space for small businesses. And so creating an economy for themselves that has left, when the current dominant economy has left them out. And it has to be targeted as well. We notice that when certain economies are created, again, they leave out those who are not historically in power. And so usually those who are in the 1% or CEOs are not usually, women of color, queer people, immigrant, or working class. It is a very disproportionate economy. And so if we can create one that is focused on lifting up people from poverty, worker ownership, one that invests in our young people. Another example of misinvestment is the youth jail. $200 million are being put into building a building that would not only incarcerate our young people and basically stop them in their future, their tracks in their future, but also there is this notion that it would also be part of a plan to gentrify the area. And so just thinking about the central district and its changes and who's being erased. And these youth that we are supporting, they're the ones who are going to innovate and create new systems. And so if we are to really invest in them, we should not be building such unhealthy structures that also happen to be on brownfields and toxic sites. And so we're actually working on a campaign called Green Pathways, Not Pipeline, Prison Pipelines, in which we want to see targeted outreach towards young people of color from low-income backgrounds to be put into career pathway internships that are living wage, and lead them into leadership positions. Again, these are youth who we interviewed actually in a community-based research a couple years ago, and majority of the youth said that they would rather not take a job that harms the environment. And so, and when asked why would they take one, it's because they were unemployed for so long. And so if we think about this, youth hold very strong values for the environment, and yet their potential is being wasted. And so we should be directing that those dollars to supporting their growth and their leadership. And lastly, I want to end with this notion about being sustainable. If we are for sustainability, we can't think about short-term gains, and sustainability in the old ways of thinking is just zero waste. And so if we are for zero waste, we have to also think about people and not disposing of our people. And so making sure that we are also treating people as well as the planet and the earth together with the same respect and dignity. And that's what I wanted to end with today.